My name's Godwin, building surveyor. I work for Notting Hill Housing. I've been with Notting Hill for just over 3 years now. Started in May 2013.
My name's Jamie. I'm one of the building surveyors at Notting Hill Housing Trust. We're working in property asset management and the contracts operations team south.
Well, my career to date, in a nutshell, I graduated from university in 2004. Initially, my career was on the private sector, so I worked for lots of consultants and contractors. Slowly graduated or developed and ended up working for local authorities just at the onset of the recession. And I've been in the public sector ever since. So I'd say I've had a 10-year career, spent 6 years in the private sector and the last 4 in the public sector.
And I've worked in housing pretty much most of my career. I worked for various different housing associations on different jobs. I've worked at Notting Hill for about 7 years now. Prior to joining property asset management, I was in the housing management department as a housing officer. I've worked my way across various different departments and been able to progress my career internally by working my way across in that basically.
A typical day might begin with a site inspection where I go to a property and have an inspection for either damp or subsidence related issues. I might go to a works progress inspection where we've got a major refurbishment work going on, see how the contractor's getting on, if the work's been progressing on time to a good standard. After that, I might go to another meeting about planned maintenance work that's due to start on a different stock of property. And then I might round up the day back in the office and receive a new party wall notice. So there's a party wall job to do coming. So no 2 days ever the same, so it was varied.
I can give you an example of my day yesterday. I wasn't in on Monday, so I came in first thing, spent an hour just clearing some emails, office admin, and then drove out to one of the sites, which is a supported housing site where I'm delivering a programme of works, which is kitchen bathroom renewals plus external works. I just met the site manager and the foreman on site, just having a look at how the works are progressing for the tenants, just having a catch up. From there I met one of the housing managers at a property where there's a disrepair claim. There was a complaint where the tenant had basically submitted a disrepair claim with an ongoing repair issue which hadn't been resolved. So met with the housing manager, we carried out our survey and then went back to the office. And then last of all in the day I met a leasehold property management officer. Again, it was a new build scheme that's only been up for a couple of years and there's some latent defects there. So all in the day I'd met 3 different sort of stakeholders throughout the course of the day.
Here's the major difference. Say during, trying times, economic times, where the economy is not so good, where the work isn't coming as it should, then you find that in the private sector, as a surveyor, you're not just doing your role, then you're having to go out and, in a way, look for more work. So in a sense, you're becoming a fee earner for the business that you work for, so that kind of, your position is not really secure, as opposed to if you're in a housing association, or even in the height of recession, we were talking about it earlier, even in the height of recession, they don't stop building. They still build property, albeit at a reduced volume, but the work continues. So there isn't that kind of pressure to say, oh, my job might be at risk. You still carry on as you were. It's not the same kind of thing.
Okay, so Notting Hill currently have a scheme which is a course of study which they help part fund a particular course if it's agreed between your managers. So going back to my time when I was working in housing management, I really wanted to get into the surveying side of the organisation. So it's something I'd always been interested in. So Notting Hill helped part fund my H&D construction at London South Bank University. It was agreed between my manager and the director of housing at the time that they would fund 50% of the course. And my hours were then consolidated into 4 days, which means I didn't lose any of my income, but I could go to university 1 day a week. So My team members also at the time used to cover my calls on the day that I was at university. So Notting Hill were able to part fund that course, and then from there I used my qualification to apply for a job internally, which was my first surveying job at Notting Hill, which was a surveyor in pathways, which coincidentally was the other surveyor at the time. So they helped fund that. Currently I'm doing my chartered membership of the CIOB. Notting Hill also pay for membership of one professional body per building surveyor, so whether you're RICS, CIOB, member of the Faculty of Party Wall Surveyors, Notting Hill help pay your fee annually. So for me, it's been a great place to be supported financially, and it's given me the qualifications to help me progress internally.
So there's lots of scope to get all sorts of qualifications, and the support is there because we've got the qualified professionals within the department to mentor and help people along with the drive obviously to succeed. So yes, it's a good place to be. Well, Notting Hill have this mantra, it's called love where you work, okay? And you see it shine through if you just observe all the various teams. So our team is pretty much a close-knit, very friendly team, we all get along, new members, old members. As Jamie just mentioned, we've been kind of split up into our various patches, so we're in different offices, but regardless, it's literally a phone call, an email. We're very supportive of each other, and we pretty much assist each other in any way we can. So even the distance by way of different office locations doesn't really affect our interactions.
There's like an internal social events group, so every month, every 2 months, there'd be events that are put on. It might be tickets to shows, tickets to a theme park or something like that, where Notting Hill has subsidised the cost of the tickets, but you can take tickets up for yourself or some of your family members. So it gives you a good chance to catch up with colleagues that you maybe not necessarily working with in the same office, but you're still in contact with. So I've been appointed in the building surveyor role 6 months ago, so I've kind of worked my way into this position. So for me, I've got a number of short-term goals which I'm looking to achieve in the next couple of years by getting my membership into the Chartered Institute of Building. So personally for me, I'm going to see myself really sort of getting stuck into this current role, learning more on the planned maintenance side of things, which I'm fairly new to, bringing up my skill set at that end, and then for me personally, I've been at Notting Hill for a number of years, and they've invested in me, and I'd like to return that. So I can see myself still at the same organisation, looking to progress internally into the role as a senior building surveyor.
These are exciting times in Notting Hill. We are, as far as the development arm is concerned, constantly developing new projects, delivering new buildings that we in the property asset management department manage and maintain, constantly taking on new assets or acquiring new assets. So the portfolio is expanding, and it will continue to expand in the coming future. And with that, you're getting new build properties with all sorts of new technologies, if you like, incorporated into them. So as surveyors, that would be a good opportunity to improve our skill set by understanding these various new technologies that have been incorporated into our properties. So again, in the next few years, I can also, like my colleague here, see myself at Notting Hill, because these are exciting times ahead. Things are happening. You can literally physically see the change happening all around you, and that is pretty much where you want to be.
For me personally, I would just say, if you do come into a role as a building surveyor or within a particular structure, just try to get involved in as much stuff as possible. I mean, I've just tried to get involved in having as much exposure as possible to different buildings, different jobs, different contractors. I've been quite lucky because I've always had a supportive manager and senior sort of surveyors around that I've been able to get guidance from and just learn from. So for me personally, I've just tried to get stuck in as much as possible, and then we were talking earlier, the more work you do, the more knowledge you build up and the more visible you are, and that really helps be able to be seen and to be able to progress. So I would just say just enjoy it and just get stuck in as much as possible.
True. True, that's very true, and I definitely agree with what Jamie says. It's really about, I think, to any graduate, you will not find a more diverse property stock, than you would with a housing association. So if it's, blocks of flats, tower blocks, you name it, bungalows, you name it, we've got it. So that already gives you exposure to all types of properties. We've got all sorts of professionals in there, architects, engineers, surveyors, even contractors, specialist contractors, M&E. Everything you need, we've got it in-house. We've got the professionals. If you want to study and progress, it's a good place to learn, it's a good place to be. And you can literally work, and the work-life balance there's no issues, there's no pressure at all. You can work from home if you need to.
That's a big thing for me, like the work-life balance is really is there for Notting Hill. I've got like a young family, and there's no issues with me getting back to pick up my son from childcare at night. Notting Hill are really supportive of that.
Indeed.
They do the flexible working. You can work from home as long as you're getting your work done. The management trust you.
Definitely.
There's a really good pension scheme. Notting Hill contribute quite a lot to that. You do your childcare vouchers, your cycle to work scheme. So all these little things are all set up, and you get a decent amount of holiday.
Indeed.
Christmas closure. So all these sort of things. The sabbatical that we talked about earlier, if you've been there for 5 years, you can apply for a sabbatical. So everything's really is set up for a decent work-life balance.
True.
Get involved in stuff because there's a lot of stuff there, but outside of that, you're not burnt out. You're able to get home, relax, and have a life outside of work. So from my point of view, that's a really positive factor for me.
Certainly. And of course, CPD, Continuing Professional Development, Notting Hill encourages. So as a graduate, you would be supported in-house because you've got qualified professionals with experience to guide you through, and you will also be supported we go to the University College of London. So we have CPD seminars that we attend. It's paid for by Notting Hill, so all you got to do is attend. Right, it's a free event. You just turn up. You can attend as many as you want, as few as you want. That's relevant to your role. So again, there's lots of that there, and so I mean, you wouldn't get a wider network of support than that, even so. You're fine. Just come and check us out. Come and check. Ask for Godwin. And you'll be all right. You'll be all right. Trust me. Social housing is a good place to start a career. And did I mention it's what's the word? It's more rewarding financially too, amongst other things. They don't tell you that though.
We hope we've been able to give you an insight into what a career in housing can offer you after university. To find out more or to apply with one of the companies we've teamed up with, please visit www.badenockandclark.com/topgrads.